Great. Let's see if this is working. I think it is. Alrighty. Good morning. My name is Lou Richardson, and I reside on the Mariposa side of the Lake Don Pedro subdivision, which unfortunately makes me a mandatory customer of the Lake Don Pedro Community Services District for water service, since I am prohibited from developing my own ground well. Excuse me, but what I had prepared for this meeting regarding the potential for incorrect maps being intentionally placed in LAFCo records by CSD representatives changed last night when I discovered disclaimers regarding that map information having only recently been posted on the website after several months of complaints. A primary defining characteristic of the special district is operation within a defined boundary. However, shortly after formation in August of 1980, our CSD began massive expansion through LAFCo annexations that were clearly outside the place of use boundary where Merced River water could be legally delivered under the water license, which was our only source of water at the time. By law, all Merced River water transferred outside the subdivision must be replaced with an equal or greater amount of groundwater. Turmoil in Lake Don Pedro over water is well known. However, what may not be appreciated or understood is how gerrymandering has assured a cycle of dysfunctional boards while simultaneously promoting further expansion outside the legal place of use, all paid for by the far majority of innocent and legal river water users in the subdivision, which I believe constitutes fraud. When non-stakeholders who do not consume district water, nor are they permitted to, or pay one thin dime, yet can vote in and determine election outcomes, something is very wrong. Entitled Merced River water using customers of the subdivision are essentially forced to subsidize a special benefit water service for outside place of use property owners and developers. This special water service is based on an extremely expensive groundwater substitution program benefiting the developers that our CSD has no legal duty or moral obligation to provide service. I believe the missing 1980 LAFCo approved formation map, which has been requested many times by individuals and other government agencies yet never provided, is a major clue that CSD activities have been intentional and wrongful. LDP CSD documents, especially maps, have been fabricated, lost, and or destroyed. In fact, during an investigation of this very outside place of use issue, our CSD administration building was completely destroyed by arson in February of 2012. A big clue. To the point, in May of 2014, 2 maps were approved by the LDP CSD to be placed in the LAFCo Policy, Procedures, and Standards Manual, and I believe these maps are incorrect in a number of ways, such as a proposed 1,000-acre subdivision suddenly jumping from SOI, sphere of influence, to being within approved district boundaries. LAFCo maps still show the subdivision in the boundaries, yet the disclaimers I recently found on the website of the LDP CSD, which I check it quite often, they just automatically came up and said, oh, well, it's all LAFCo. I don't believe that. It is imperative that this matter, oh, did I jump here? It is imperative that this matter be handled as soon as possible, as the GM has budgeted $15,000 to recreate our district boundaries based on these apparently erroneous maps. Please note, this is the same general manager who, during his first tour of employment with the LDP CSD 1993 to 1997, left a documented trail of overzealous attempts of expansion of district boundaries, often without board approval. Oh, geez, I have extra time. I'm not ready. God, what can I say about the general manager? Yeah, when he was here before, basically all he did was pick up the phone and call a bunch of property owners and say, hey, how would you like to be in the district? Won't cost you any money at all. And somehow they were subsequently brought into the district and they had the rights to vote. And that's the part that causes the continuing turmoil. Because when you have directors that run on a ticket of, I'll get you water someday and it will be real cheap, they're always going to get elected. And I think that's to the detriment of the citizens and the ratepayers in the subdivision. Yeah, gosh darn it, I wish I had more time. This is the map that I printed last night from LAFCo. And the area I'm talking about specifically right now, there are other ones I think that are in question, is the Dosher property here. I was on the board for 4 years, and I have never seen that as being within our district boundaries. It was always SOI. And suddenly, I think it was like 4 or 5 months, was it May, June, July, August, September? Yeah, 5 months prior to Pete Campa, our current general manager, who was here in the 90s that did all this expansion. Just prior to him getting here, these maps were approved. Now, I was going to attend the meeting where this happened. In fact, Ken Kennedy was on the LAFCo board at the time. I was going to catch a ride with him. And I was told by the general manager and the board president I could not attend because I was a director and 2 other directors would be attending. I argued saying, well, as long as we weren't making decisions for the district, I should be allowed to attend and watch. And they said, absolutely not. So I didn't go, and this is what resulted. I complained about it right after it happened, and I've talked with Director Williams, I'm sorry, Director Supervisor, about it, and she's been very nice in furnishing some information, but it still remains. I'm at the point right now, after seeing the disclaimers last night, was this subdivision approved in 1995 and it slumbered quietly all this time until Campa was returned? Because see, even if it was approved, even if it was approved by LAFCo, we can't serve water unless it comes out of the ground. And this is the interesting thing that Campa did. First of all, he was brought back through a highly unethical appointment process. I mean, it's just, you wouldn't believe it.
You're pretty far over the...
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, well, thank you very much for your leniency on that.
We necessarily can't respond to this today.
No, I understand.
We'll take it under advisement and certainly look to...
Well, if you ever have any questions for clarification or anything like that, I would be more than happy to spend the time to go over it. Plus, I have a website, lakedonpedro.org, all one word, .org. It may not be professional, but what it lacks for professionalism, it's sincere. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.